So what we have here is the Unwind tension controller. This device here will measure the diameter of the roll that's on the main unwind and will lower the pressure going to the brake as the roll size decreases. So basic operation would be to put your roll of material on the main unwind. This sensor here is an ultrasonic sensor that is aimed at this roll and does the diameter measurement. So the ideal, also let me show you here, we have this gauge that gives you a air pressure readout to also assist, because all of the other stations are that way and your other machine is that way, so it's very handy to have a air pressure reading of what's actually going on at the brake. But essentially, you put a roll of material on the main unwind, and with these up and down arrow keys here, you would adjust the set point or the percentage of tension that's being applied at the main unwind. And when you have that set at a full roll or even a partial roll, the idea is that as that roll gets smaller, it's going to keep the same amount of tension on the material by lowering the pressure that's going to the brake. And there's really not much that you would set on this. You can also use this in a manual mode where you hit this button and it says M there. That means you're in manual mode, and in manual mode you just use the plus and minus keys here to raise the amount of tension or the percentage of tension, and that will be reflected here. So you can also, I push the down arrow key, get to this manual level, I cursor over. I just want to show you as I raise the pressure here, keep your eye on that gauge, it's going up as the pressure is going up. 50% is 40 pounds, 100% is 80 pounds. So when we're talking about a percentage of tension, you have 80 pounds at 100%. And if you could remember that, then so at 50% you're going to have 40 pounds, 25% you're going to have 20 pounds. This is in the manual mode, of course. Back to automatic mode. You can feel your roll of material. How much tension do I want on this roll? You use the plus and minus keys to set that, and it should pretty much stay there. Some things you may have to do is press the program button. This says roll dimensions. Hit the down arrow key. There's a full roll diameter. You can set that. The core diameter, that is the outside diameter of the core that you're using. And then the distance to axis. The distance to axis is the distance from that sensor to the center of this mandrel. Now that is a recorded number. We have recorded that into documentation for you, but that should never change. And if it does change, if someone messes it up, it's not going to read the correct diameter. The system may still work correctly, but maybe not just as well as it could. So you want to keep an eye that that doesn't get changed. And in a lot of cases, you could set this full roll diameter to the worst case scenario. If the biggest roll you guys ever handle is 30 inches, set it to 30. If it's 40, leave it there. And then ideally, if you put a 20-inch roll on, it should drop the tension to about where you would want a 20-inch roll to be. One other thing to keep in mind with this unit is you have a sensor on here that is measuring the diameter, and we can stop the machine when the diameter is near the core. And that is set by here. Program. Roll dimensions is like the top heading of all the settings. Configuration. Stop and alarms. That's where we want to be. And we go down to the minimum diameter detect setting. And basically anything 4 inches or below, we're going to set an alarm. And what that alarm is going to do is going to stop the machine. I walk over to the control panel here. It's also going to turn this light on. And I'm going to demonstrate that here real quick just by removing this roll of material. We have this roll on here. It's reading that this roll is 11.4 inches. Slid the roll out of the way from the sensor. Now it's reading the mandrel shaft itself as being read. We can see over here this yellow light came on. So this is a bypass switch over here. So essentially, if I have this low roll bypass in the off position like this, the machine would run. Oh, I'm sorry, the machine can't run. If we were running and the roll became small enough to set the alarm off, the machine would then stop. I'd have to then bypass this to run the rest of the roll through.